Another day in modern London, and yet another scene that's becoming disturbingly normal. A man, reportedly in the country illegally, walks straight into a convenience store holding a brick in his hand, not trying to hide it, openly carrying it like a weapon. He calmly begins stuffing his bag with whatever he wants, stealing in broad daylight without any fear of consequences. We'll dive into this story in today's video, but before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Right now, only 12% of viewers are subscribed, so join the community and help us grow. One of the store staff or customers tries to reason with him, telling him to stop, but instead of backing down, the man threatens them with the brick, making it very clear that if anyone intervenes, they'll be assaulted. He then continues helping himself, loads up more items, and simply walks out, free, unchallenged, and completely unconcerned. This isn't a one-off. This is becoming part of daily life in parts of our cities. Lawlessness, theft, intimidation, and a justice system that seems increasingly unwilling or unable to act. People are frightened to speak up, police are overstretched, and offenders feel untouchable. Let's also be honest, if a British citizen walked into a store threatening staff with a brick and robbing the place in full view, there would be swift consequences. But in far too many of these cases, nothing happens. And when the offender is an illegal migrant, there's often even more hesitation to confront the issue, for fear of offending the wrong narrative. We have to ask, how did we get here? Where criminals walk free, victims stay silent, and politicians do nothing. When law-abiding people live in fear and criminals roam without fear, something is seriously broken. And unless we find the courage to say so out loud, scenes like this will stop being shocking and start becoming just another normal day in London. Have a watch.
Fuck off, I'm taking one more thing. No.
Scenes like this should never be normalized. A man walks into a shop with a brick, steals what he wants, threatens anyone who dares speak up, and just walks away. No police, no accountability, no consequences. This isn't just petty theft, it's lawlessness, it's intimidation, and it's happening in broad daylight in a major UK city. If the people enforcing our borders, laws, and public safety continue to look the other way, then ordinary citizens will be left to suffer in silence, afraid to speak up, afraid to act, afraid to even call it what it is. Let's be clear, no one has the right to come to this country and abuse it, not a single person. And if our leaders won't take that seriously, then they're not just failing us, they're enabling this chaos. In other news, Sir David Amess's daughter has accused Sir Keir Starmer of point-blank refusing an inquiry into the murder of her father, 4 years after he was killed by a British Islamic State sympathiser at his constituency surgery. Speaking recently, Katie Amess said the family's calls for an inquiry have fallen on deaf ears, and they still don't have answers as to why Ali Harbi Ali was able to murder the late MP. In 2021, Sir David was murdered by Ali Harbi Ali during a constituency surgery in Leigh-on-Sea in Essex. Marking the 4-year anniversary of her father's killing, Ms. Amess said that her family's lives are destroyed and she can never be fully happy again. Ms. Amess said, "It's still so shocking to me, and it's so hard to come to terms with and believe that this is actually what happened and that this is our reality now. We are just absolutely broken. Our lives are destroyed. I feel like I can never be fully happy again knowing that this happened to my dad in such a shocking and horrific way." Outlining her repeated calls to government to hold an inquiry into the murder of Sir David, Ms. Amess said the Prime Minister is refusing to hold an investigation. She explained, 4 years on, we still don't have any answers as to why somebody that was known to the government prevent scheme and to the police was allowed to go back onto the street to commit this atrocity. I've been asking the government for an inquiry to find out why they only had one meeting with the guy, and they didn't have the other 7 that were budgeted to find out if he was a terrorist. And so far, it's fallen on deaf ears, and Sakira is refusing to do an inquiry for us. Comparing the case of her father's murder to the Southport killings, Ms. Ames has claimed that the government want her to shut up and move on. She stated, "Southport happened and the government did the right thing. They immediately launched an inquiry. But there is something in my father's case that they do not want to see the light of day, and they are point blank refusing. And when I ask, they have no answers to me. They just tell me that it's a different case and that I should be happy with a review that has been done. They just want me to go away and to shut up and to move on. But I'm not going to do that because my dad was an amazing public servant. He was in the House of Commons for nearly 40 years, and he touched thousands of people's lives, and these are his colleagues and his alleged friends, and they don't want whatever it is that they know coming out. My whole family is just in despair. If this is how little the government cares for the family of a murdered colleague, how little do they care for everybody else?" Hitting out at the government's Prevent scheme, Mrs. Ames declared, "Nothing has changed in regard to the threats politicians face to their safety." She said, "Prevent is absolutely rubbish and nothing has changed. Any terrorist that is planning an attack must be loving watching my situation. However, I'm not even allowed an inquiry as to why the government scheme let him go. We aren't reprimanding these people, we aren't overhauling the system, we aren't getting into the nuts and bolts of where we failed. We're just brushing it over, sweeping it under the carpet, and trying to move on to the next story. So it's a huge failure, and we're not even being allowed any answers as to who made the mistakes and why they made them." Delivering her verdict on her father's killer, Ms. Ames said Ali Harbi Ali is pathetic, and God will decide what happens to him in prison. She concluded, "I don't even think about him. He is so pathetic and irrelevant. He wanted to be seen as a hero and be hailed as this great warrior, but he attacked an unarmed 69-year-old man in the church. That is a wimp. That is not a warrior. He should have just gone to Syria and fought in the war if he thought he was so strong and powerful, so he will just die in prison. And I am deeply religious like my father was, and I believe that God will figure out what's going to happen with him when he dies in prison. So I just focus on my dad and the love and the light and the positivity that he brought to this world." A Home Office spokesman said in a statement, "While we do not think a public inquiry would unearth any information that has not already been assessed, we have confirmed that we will further scrutinize all the reviews that have taken place over the last few years. We very much hope this will help the family to get the answers they deserve." In the years since this cowardly attack, there have been several reviews asking how this could have been avoided, and we have seen significant improvements to the Prevent program, as well as stronger protections for MPs. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.